Hey, what's up everyone? This is just a teardown video and an assembly video of me taking off the old CPU cooling solution that I had on my NZXT H440 inside my NZXT H440, which is an ID cooling Frostflow 240L. Not the greatest cooler in the world, fans are pretty rubbish, pumps a bit anemic, and as a result of that, overclocking on my i7 4790K was pretty terrible. Okay, I'll put a link in the description below to indicate how terrible it was, because we were having temperatures of above 92 degrees on just 1.25 volts before I decided to also delid, of which I will also put a link in the description below on how to delid your CPU and to change the TIM between the heat spreader and the CPU die. Okay, so this cooling solution was about what, 50-60 US dollars, about a little over 200 ringgit. Not the best cooler in the world. I would suggest to avoid it unless you want to just run something that's silent, but for performance oriented enthusiasts it's probably not for you. Okay, so when you want to put in your NZXT Kraken X62, obviously the first thing is you got to decide whether you want exhaust or intake. So I decided I wanted exhaust, and I wanted to exhaust it through the top panel. And that's what we did here. Now the key thing that you want to note when you do this is, of course, first of all you need to line up your fans and you need to put your screws in. Not because you can actually screw your fans in, but you just want to hold them in place so that you can position them accordingly. Now this depends on the clearance between the fans, the radiator, and the top part of your motherboard. Now enthusiast motherboards will generally have heat sinks around the CPU socket, which can give you a bit of a challenge when it comes to putting it together. But once you line up the fans and figure out your spacing, it's all pretty simple and straightforward. So here I am, just screwing in the radiator through the fans and making sure that all of the clearances are okay. Now, one of the issues I had, of course, was lining things up, but one of the good things about the NZXT fans is that they have a tube that goes all the way from the part that you put the screw in right up to the radiator, so it's pretty easy to mount, and then you can just screw everything into place relatively simply. Okay, and from there on end, this is actually the ideal placement for this particular kind of radiator up top, simply because then the tubing is on the right side away from everything on the left, so you don't clutter up the area around your CPU socket. Okay, so there I am, just cleaning off the thermal paste. I'm using Noctua's NTH D1, is that what you call it? No, it's the Noctua NTH1. Yes, that's what I'm using. I cleaned off the pre-applied thermal paste from NZXT, and then all you have to do is actually just to put a little bead of it right there. Okay, nothing bigger than that. Actually, that might be a little bit too much, but that's okay. And of course, put it in. Now, when you put this in, the key thing to note whenever you assemble any computer components is that when it's tight, you just need to just tight enough, but never too tight, okay? Because you don't want things to start cracking, okay? And you want to make sure that you do everything in an X configuration, so you do top left, bottom right, then bottom left, top right, in order to distribute the pressure very, very evenly across the whole thing, okay? And this is the best way to mount it in this particular case. And when all is said and done, all you have to do is to peel it off and start it up and make sure everything works. And that's that, ladies and gentlemen.